Oh, there's CBS this morning. You guys are involved with your source with Facebook, first of all, with state police, with the FBI, former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, hit a whole bunch of his federal criminal co-defendants and other natures of federal criminals, and more recorded, and then recorded also with their family members involved with database racketeering through time. Whole bunch of people recorded confessed tied to a Heather Hansen who I don't know. And they'll say that they know me because they walked by me a couple of times, like for example, and people that I don't know at all pretending other criminal uses of every identity of the ground where people are not going to. In other words, I just saw on a YouTube video a coach mentioned that so someone said that it takes I don't know if he was serious or what half the season before he knows everyone's names. And I was probably just joking, so I'm not but I'm just saying those people communicating like that, they don't even communicate with their own teammates half the about things. They're having conversations isolated, insulated. This is where everyone stays a victim predator, stays criminally foreign influence states and areas. Now there are people that are I never had a conversation with, never hung out with, never had anything to do with a Kevin Hickey. There are houses next to him that are further confessing, recorded, and demonstrated involved with the state police and with forensics locations and with a former Mayor Gold. His neighbors are further involved with child offenders, with a principal sex offenders campus, and a whole bunch of judges, courts, prison cliques tied to them, foreign and domestic military, and overt criminal enterprises, criminal uses of locations on off town line drive. Now these are people from all the highest levels of politicians interstates through Connecticut, racketeering roles with the Justice Department, with Pentagon. Now we have I believe there's a sovereign bank. I believe it's a sovereign bank. All the banks in town in Weathersfield. There's a Jerry Kerr and a Mike Kerr, and they have people tied to them through time with my name used criminally because these are people also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated crime methods with courts where they pretend things into databases, fake conversations, forge names with people, interbranch drug cliques with other nations. These are people also with a fiscal, a whole bunch of, like people with military families, foreign and domestic, involved with evidences, crimes with overt criminal enterprises, criminal as families involved with uses of the witness protection program, stewards also criminally, and per them as strangers. So now then they pretend people are rats as the people they had walk up to you and make confessions out of nowhere through time in sustained ways. And for example, there's a Robert Rodriguez I never had anything to do with, who's involved with a whole bunch of people with CCSU, with foreign and domestic families, with jobs like with locations with hospitals. Now this is tied to a whole bunch of nations individually grouped and sick together with a whole bunch of roles with families of psychologists that are involved with the foreign and domestic military, places on and off like that sovereign bank where they have, I believe, there's an Omni place there, and there's a house near there. Like it used to be a light blue, right on behind where they used to be a place where you a buffet, and that's recorded confessed also involved with a whole bunch of nations associated with CCSU and their roles with on and off campuses racketeering of each age. Now, see, when I was in the same campus of the principal sex offender, now that Facebook and CBS is involved with, because you guys are preventing mandated law, and you guys are, for example, with the crime method that is essential to American history of pretending mandated law means ask someone else. You guys attach me to fake words. Your sources interbranch are involved with racketeering with you and with the principal sex offenders campus then and now. And you guys were already involved with racketeering with your sources since before that. And against the people, the kids, seniors, and me, you attach to fake locations, fake sequences, and fake words. And now, so you also have sports teams involved with this. We have two Wydell brothers, and we have a Tabucky Jones, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with the families with a Phil Colon and with a Scalora family and with a whole bunch of people at CCSU involved with a whole bunch of men and women. Everyone speak through other, and that's used criminally. Because then when people speak about with there's fact treatment nature and phenomena that are used for magic tricks, criminal magic tricks with evidences, and with pretending to perceive things, and we're pretending to record things. They're also falsifying police reports, writing fake conversations as officers from different towns, falsifying police reports, pretending making mistakes, and then switching things in databases, stacking fake recorded things in databases. There were a whole bunch of people on off Fox Connecticut News's location also. It's more complicated. These are also people involved more complicated roles and uses of the identity as a ground, like the New Haven FBI, and like even from here you can see uses of that intercity, uses of the Chicago FBI, uses of color. Color becomes more positive the same way nuclear weapons that everyone has it becomes more powerful because now you can see how our real value, which is Trinity, which is clear, and identity nature actual. It's actual course. Individual nature of volume with sequence true, active nature of volume, progressive nature of volume's value. Now you can't have a value conversation proper if you're not having a value conversation about these natures of volume that are scientifically connected and with sequence true and with identity nature beyond even the progressive, while it's its value simultaneously in relationship to one identity as simultaneously two different distinct natures as semi-nature, which is how it's in demonstration unceasingly of how it is in a semi-nature simultaneously distinctly, and how it is a complete nature simultaneously distinctly, and how it is a simultaneous nature as how it is distinctly and non-distinctly the identity of space and the identity of forever as the identity they are together as three gaining semi-natures of and as the value of itself before and after that. This filled the three values of space, the three natures of zero as the one nature of itself that is each identity as like all one identity, complete identities of our body are unceasingly semi-nature relationships to our complete identity. That's while our complete identity is simultaneously a semi-nature relationship to the perfect value progression that is the identity that all sciences share. We don't have to agree about the name of it. We're not supposed to. If you understand what the beginning of the Quran is saying, if you understand what the beginning of the Old Testament is saying too, they're talking about sciences. For example, they also have the use of what they have pictures of. It looks like an alien, not by accident. They have fake sites, conspiracy theories, and they have people pretending to be against conspiracies with the same physical delusions, with the same with the roles, with the same pretending to be against with their for. As they're also preventing mandated law. We have experts on logic originally and still involved with what forced our founders to be fact cheating nature slaves with their identity stolen to extents that they couldn't control. If they tried to fix that, they would have been found out as their roles with it, what really happened. And there wasn't like their narratives. That was all forced. In other words, that's why George Washington did not tell any lies. He chopped down the fake branches. Everybody had to leave overt slavery. So he didn't chop down the fake branches. So both those things are true. See, we have what is binary pretended. See, everyone used all the binary because the attorney general used it. They're keeping their state's attorneys are in collusion with prosecutors, with judges, retired and standing, on off their state judicial branch offices, racketeering with CBS. CBS this morning. All you have to do is follow mandated law and respond to me. With New Britain Superior Court has a whole bunch of people with KNER as the last name, as the people involved with Facebook, involved with racketeering, with a whole bunch of interbranch and doctors, foreign and domestic, forging names, switching names, racketeering with overt criminal enterprises and with body dumping spots, especially if they made any of them up or all of them. These are also other natures of racketeering as the people involved with child offenders further. A whole bunch of people through one house slash S in my family in my area that went to my grammar school. These are also his friends were tied racketeering accent rules with other campuses and people next on off those campuses. There are connections to houses on off campuses. There was a state police associated with a house a girl of a girl's house on another Victorian house on Griswold too. That's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with criminal uses of police forms on my street. Oh, no, so house slash S. This is everyone speaking through other people through time. Then they got stuck, so they had all these people intercities make tied confessions on off the campus of Trinity College is involved racketeering with my new and past neighbors. A whole bunch of people tied to a Dillon family. They're racketeering with judges involved with uh what do they call real estate companies, people on Park Street. Now they're exploiting identities. The ground originally still per a method of that. They have a Peruta family on the corner of Griswold Street and Maple Street. Also recorded racketeering acts rolls. See, everyone's connected to this because everyone's speaking to other people. I don't know the Peruta family, and I don't know the rest of the names of the Russians recorded and confessed and demonstrated involved with a whole bunch of people with downtown Hartford and with these media with racketeering acts roles, uses of Hartford Hospital, other Hartford hospitals, intercity hospitals, medical families, especially ones with badges, especially ones with not real sick people with psychology, delusions, rot, criminally foreign influence. All right, you want to have an expert, don't have them criminal and have them forging names and switching names with coward natures of courts. Worse than that, really sick and pretending other people are what they are and from backgrounds. They're preventing anyone having a response in writing. These are people with CCSU involved whole bunch of natures of racketeering uses of each age of campuses through time. We have further principles involved with racketeering because we had the educational department at CCSU originally well, through time involved with racketeering. We had each of the departments of the campus. We have a whole bunch of people associated with the English department in Willard Hall and the various, even the buildings used criminally by people who pretended to perceive things. A whole bunch of people associated with the boxing gyms in Connecticut are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with Justice Department racketeering. Judges of various natures of courts, again, all tied to them. There are people that involved with the training of them pretending, you know, this vetting, whatever like that. It's all confessed and recorded. They want to. In other words, everyone speaks through each other, and what is actually recorded is other than what they say, because they're pretending to perceive things and that they know, because they're using courts they already used the areas they have crime acts rules with the things that went through their courts. What's actually what's actually recorded shows this. See, mandated law doesn't mean start attaching people to more and more fake names, forging names, switching names. We have a whole bunch of officers forging names, switching names with the Scalora family. That is also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved further and follow with natures of like dentists and their roles with Weathersfield Police, State Police, FBI, Chris Walters, families in New Britain, and people police forms in East Hartford, foreign and domestic, training of women to be undercover, putting them in sick positions, like you know. Of course, they want money, but don't make them little rap mobs with other people's names and then hide that and use strippers. They have UPS involved with this too, with racketeering where they have police forms and they're using every little value women. They have women judges involved crimes with the principal sex offenders campus then and now, still preventing me free speech. They know when I went into they pretend they investigate things and they're lying. They can record it, confess, and demonstrate it. They have state's attorneys involved with falsified police reports, racketeering against whole areas, whole ages, for their uses of pretending the crime methods, pretending it's about how they're trying to hide what they're not trying to hide on and off CCSU, on and off Trinity College. Also involved with pilots and people involved with my new and past neighbors with the Dillon family and with their extended family members with racketeering with that. Where they make statements, they take a picture of you so they can pretend that you had were in that conversation or even know what those people's names are, but they know your names. See, I don't know their names. The Cleeses, Lewises, they switched their names too. There were also people with Lewises. There were a whole bunch of police forms and everyone people speaking through themselves, sexual circles and things like that associated with houses in my area. Cliques where the person who was in my grade hung around with people younger than him, like a John Mayano, which I never met until my grade graduated. I had to stay back. I didn't have to stay back. I would have had to fight, and I would have had to take positions that would had a whole bunch of judges and their family members associated with a whole bunch of boyfriends of these sisters. That one of them had like 3 or 4 boyfriends, and they're all involved with racketeering against me. These are people on our Fox Connecticut News. There's a Chris White, and there's an Officer White family that is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with a whole bunch of racketeering with people with CCSU, with Trinity College. They're forging names, switching names. These are also people racketeering acts roles with a whole bunch of people in my town on and off locations like Park Street, like uses of the congressional building, court buildings, depositions to put fake sides of fact sheet in nature, fake middles, fake. Oh, that person doesn't even like each other. They're in a collusion. But their motivations are other because the overt criminal enterprises are controlling the families the distinctly and not distinctly from the interbranch ones, distinctly and non distinctly from the private tied to them, distinctly and non distinctly from everyone else. But it's actually record. Facebook knows this. See, Facebook doesn't know the extent of it. The witness protection program recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with racketeering with a whole bunch of people tied to the house next to me and uses of them by the former director of the FBI, other FBI, CIA, their family members pretending to know me now because, like with a sick girl, some Kelly Kazmarek recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering with a whole bunch of other people that they put in there when they put me in the fake locations and tried to film exceptions like on off two route highway houses, on off it, always. Now, these are also the sickest natures of crimes in Weathersfield through time, rarer, but these are the same people involved with that are involved with racketeering with the north uses of the north end of Hartford originally and still the forsaken not let free speech, not let mandated law when we have all identities of law with exception. In other words, of course, they're going to have people talking wrong to them, and they're talking wrong to the people because they came through their racketeering roles uses of recorded criminally foreign influence sciences, identities of the departments. Now, right around the corner from where George Washington had to meet and sleep when he met with the French general in Hartford in Weathersfield, Connecticut, there's a Webb Stevens house. They changed it Old Weathersfield. Right around the corner, there's a house in the corner of Church Street in Old Weathersfield that's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with tied to a whole bunch of doctors with medical racketeering, with crimes, with the overt criminal enterprises, with drugs, and with agencies. I don't know if they have agencies underground there, what they have there. No, in other words, and that's not conspiracy theory. That's those recorded, confessed, and demonstrated crimes, crime methods with agencies and with the Weathersfield police chiefs, their interbranch family members, including prosecutors, sick as hell originally and still. That's recorded. These are sick predators, forging names, switching things, putting fake recorded things into databases, pretending they don't realize speaking through other people they're doing it so criminally. And then they're attacked using our words like on Facebook. I responded to things because I can't get a response. I had to respond to things where they're trying to start fights between me and their and other people, like in my family, about conversations, not fights. They're trying whatever they get. They're forcing people illusion. They're attaching kids to forced sexual abuses, and they're not letting their family members tell because they're having everyone have fake conversations behind their backs. In other words, they can't put something in paper now because they already recorded themselves with a whole bunch of people from Church Street and Old Weathersfield involved with racketeering with Hartford Hospital and with the Leahy family. A Dr. Brendan Leahy forged names, switched names, had fake conversations with me about agencies, pretended I was talking about agencies recording my father. These are he's also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated by other doctors and what he wrote fake conversations with me. We had no conversation with him at all. He wrote, I didn't even respond. He didn't even ask me questions about those things. In other words, three times they forced me into a triage because of the game they're playing with with retired and standing detectives associated with this Detective Dillon and his roles with untimely deaths, real or made up, on off Trinity College. That's also involved with other natures of racketeering acts, and as the ones involved with racketeering acts on off CCSU. These are criminal campuses by interbranch uses of campuses by interbranch police and by military, foreign, and domestic, also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. A whole bunch of media recorded, confessed, and demonstrated that locations in Farmington, West Farms Mall, and those shops around there and stuff like that are also involved with media racketeering, uses of their databases, uses of their mouths for verbal federal crimes, because then they have to hide that. Then they have to hide, pretend not to realize, because they're sequence racketeering roles. They're also time racketeering roles where they're forcing to sustain. I've been asking since the Trade Center attack to with other people to report what they have recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. They even have people all they have all the counters to such six things with those six same groups. Now these are a whole bunch of people through time with with the corner of with businesses around the corner of Town Line Drive involved with foreign and domestic military and involved the ones with the Trade Center racketeering leading up to in the Trade Center attack and since. These are people with criminal uses of um, Barack Obama and each person right through his administration. No, each through each administration, it is recorded that they are using, even including Barack Obama. Every single person on this planet I've ever heard speak is using democracy criminally. In other words, democracy's values never liberated because right to vote means nothing if you don't have integrity, free speech. So the people have physical delusions because they everyone came through criminally foreign influence sciences. No, in other words, not we have the forsaken individually grouped and together. Now we have people that pretend that having physical money means what it doesn't, and that's a problem because we have politicians thinking about that, and their uses of that are also with physical. I mean, their justifications of that are also with physical delusion. Now we have a whole bunch of an Aiello family, a whole bunch of mayors, fake sides of both those parties through time, and their family members recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. There's a whole bunch of people. A Morin girl. I never had anything. I never had any problems with her in my life. There's a Morin family that is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with a Sammy Vega and his family involved with justice racketeering, military racketeering, foreign and domestic people, other people with Puerto Rican doctors of psychology and racketeering with prisons cliques and training of them on and off Trinity College. CCSU also involved with this racketeering here. Now they're forging names, switching names, criminal uses of the deans. To understand that, you have to be able to respond. You have to be able to respond per defendant, former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, also recorded racketeering roles with the media that is also preventing mandated law and stealing our identities through administrations, putting fake recorded things into databases. Now, There are a whole bunch of people of all positions with the courts, like New Britain Superior Court, through time. That no, as criminal uses of um, victims advocates that are used to further the problems, and in other words, that they're furthering. They're pretending to be against it at the same time misprision. They're same time pretending they have integrity of title, and that's their job because that's what the statutes say. These people are in collusion with other nations. That's what the statutes really say, and they know it. These are state scenarios. These are various natures of courts. People on and off the state judicial branch offices with CBS News, CBS this morning. Now, you guys, if you guys don't want help, it's they want to make it. They want to make it national because it's international. Just give up state. Just give up WFSB. Scott Haney, all those people. They make these faces. I don't know them. Their sources are criminally foreign influence. These are people involved with child sex offenders. They're making the kids cry because they have further prosecutors and they have further the Weathersfield police chief, child, and themselves involved making the kids cry, hiding lie progressions because they faked conversations with me. They forged names. They've been false in playing police reports. They've been using these courts and on off their state judicial branches through crime acts every fucking day through time. I just remind follow mandated law who disbelieves. Get them to one name and sequence into branch. And let's get their military from my name too. I want to know the names of the people of the police forms with the courts and the judges and what to one name and sequence with Hartford courts and with New Britain Court leading in 2000. And then because in 2000 before the attack, they were already recorded, confessed, and demonstrated by people from my town and people from the Britain and West Hartford and intercities. And Hartford, the Britain, all recorded, confessed, and demonstrated criminal uses of the area with people from my town who made confessions about that area when I was a kid. And that's tied to their crime methods, recorded uses of confessions from strangers from nowhere. Then they pretend those people know you, and they can't do it on paper because they're stuck. They already can maintain. There were a whole bunch of people tied to a Spada family, and other people on off Two Rod Highway there, and her neighbors are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated further involved with the AT&T and with the FBI and with this Dillon family and with this Phil Cololo and other people involved. Weathersfield Police recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. Also, they have a Spada Scalura family and others involved with them further with their sexual crimes with New Britain Superior Court. Facebook has also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with Dave KNER and ERIC KNERR involved with racketeering with the former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and their sequence shifts and federal crimes with child sex offenders and then their use is pretending not to realize that with their uses of the media pretending to be legitimately making opinions about Mueller and Comey, real or made up uh, directors of the FBI. They're involved sequences of them for racketeering because they're also involved with mail crime whole mail crime methods, not just mail crime acts, whole wire crime methods, not just wire crime acts, a whole bunch of EMS through time involved with on off there are apartments in Rocky Hill. There's like Dakota places recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with police forms that have criminal uses of intercities, locations, and relationships to CCSU with Rocky Hill and intercities at West Farms Mall, the mall in East Hartford. These are people involved with racketeering roles with people in my town that pretended they knew me through time and all exceptions used criminally, so they can't do it on paper. Everyone's speaking through other people. And when there's an exception, they can't even speak about that because I caught them dead cold. They know it. They know they're recorded originally still. All you have to do is look at the identity of pathology of the infrastructure of people stacking in New York City and to know that what are they smiling about? In other words, You're not going to extort. You're not going to leave this through ages. We're going to end this here because these are also locations, houses, and businesses in the fire department next to Trinity College involved further as the ones involved. There's a whole bunch of people tied to a Charlie Bose. I never had a class with, never had anything to do with them, never hung around with them. A Charlie Bose, and there's a Edward Poland recorded, confessed, and demonstrated also with foreign and domestic Russian families and people on off Fox Connecticut News involved with racketeering acts with them. How businesses next to them, Social Security doctors, and police firms associated with that, uses of the building there, like the Fox used to be the G Fox building next to around the corner, right next to the corner of right across diagonally across the street from the Fox CT News building. Note they have Nipsey Hussle painted on there. Other side of the parking lots, a whole bunch of people got shot through time. A whole bunch of racketeering internatures of campuses, interdepartments of each campus, intersciences. They're worse than obfuscating the science, the identity the scientists share per actual science. See, they're making it's all right. They have opinions, but they can't. They're using the word debate. Please, presidents, there were presidential candidates. Don't pretend there was the word debate wasn't used criminally originally and still to have forced entertained binary A or B, and forget the sequence racketeering. You have a whole bunch of people associated with Weathersfield Police, the town officers with a Inspector Mike, who pretended he was calling from the fire department, who was calling from town offices. These are also the people involved with election spots, but not just the town offices, but a religious spot. And these are also other religious spots tied to the same families criminally involved with that. And these are military police families. Now, they also have recorded, confessed, and demonstrated various natures of shipping and mail police with the corners of the streets that the Peruta family and other Russians are involved with the fire department and with the EMS and with the state police and with the retired and standing detectives and police with Weathersfield Police and from the police chief down, former director of the FBI down, Robert Luskin, all gather around. They're also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. They pretend people try. Oh, they're trying to get famous, stuff like that. That's a crime method recorded. That's a crime method. They know that people aren't trying to get famous, or no people want to get hurt when we want the truth defended. We don't have that. We have them offensively pretending to be against what they're for. They have the media is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated one of their part of their racketeering roles with the kids. There's a whole bunch of natures of racketeering with the kids, each age of fact sheet nature. They have women judges recorded, confessed, and demonstrated their actual motives and needs to keep to hide their actually recorded natures, no criminal insidiousness nature. So now we have evidence racketeering, evidence reception predators originally, and still the same way, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. So it's not personal. It's not personal. What's the name of this show? CBS. But I'm also saying CBS this morning because now we're gonna go. We have to talk about it as a national problem because we need. I'm having a hard time getting a lawyer, which is part of the extortion. And they have these mail crime methods and wire crime methods. You can't call up the police because they'll lie about your communications with them, and they're lying about their evidences online. The FBI has recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering roles. Remember, with Russians here too, not just overt criminal enterprises from various nations and criminal crime acts uses of the witness protection program and of houses associated that with the same ones in my area too, on my street too. Now, see, we have they're bringing in the sensibilities of everyone forced to speak through police forms, forging and switching names. They have no integrity. So we're gonna have to. We should. I shouldn't have to write a map. You should just clean out the people and get them to respond with this Dr. Gilmore. She's also forging. She's also switching her identity and she's got they have a whole bunch of people associated with the acting department also associated with that house. with the Gilmore, and the names the racketeering with the corner of Church Street and Main Street and houses on Church Street involved. Now these were also racketeering with uses of real estate companies tied to my new and past neighbors and to this Dillon family and to families associated with Park Street and Alina's Pizza that are associated with forensics clicks, like a Lance Cuddy also record a Cuddy family and his brothers also recorded, confessed, demonstrated racketeering roles, uses of on and off the state judicial branch offices through time clicks, on and off the state prison offices clicks. Now these are also the people further recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with sexual circles tied to CCSU with police forms, foreign and domestic inclusion, even like with and with names forging and switching and share tied to the people who are sharing names like Magdalena and Maggie, even with and there's an Elena Davenport. I don't know her sister's name and their husbands, but they're involved with a whole bunch of women involved with Interbranch New Britain. You know, everyone, girls think, oh, it's who you know. She's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with racketeering with a whole bunch of people. Also, with Newington, there's a Newington Lowe's, and there's like and there are business police, share policing of that. You know, all that there, the the eating place near there across the street from it. Through time, the people that work and police those places are involved with racketeering with the state, a whole bunch of police forms. So then, rather than make it complicated, just get them to pick one name and spelling of their names and one sequence into branch. We have women judges that are involved with really sick people, with really sick doctors, foreign and domestic, also involved with crimes with their principal sex offenders campus further. Then, when they were forcing it criminally, and now further with more than and now recorded. These are people also crimes further intercities on not just the campus right. The campus is on Park Street and the one right around the corner from Lena's Pizza in that tiki place. Now a whole bunch of people tied to that place. I don't care if they're, in other words, of course they're criminally foreign influence positions. We have a whole bunch of sisters. They use they make people make confessions. I don't know that the Alexandra Spada and Antonetta Spada and her other sisters and cousins' names from Newington also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated that part of Newington is involved with federal crimes leading up to and in the Trade Center attack with the people involved racketeering with former director of the FBI Robert Luskin down and his federal criminal code defendants. Note one who had a daughter in my grade. These are also people involved with a whole bunch of people with the name White, some Officer White, and people associated with a Jen Socia, a Jim Socia, and Amy Socia that are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with it, or Chris Walters family, some Justice Department, Washington D.C., Pentagon, and racketeering natures associated further involved with crimes with criminal uses of libraries, criminal uses of on and off the Salstein Highway, further recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with foreign and domestic families. Again, with the with town with locations next to mobile gas stations on the Salstein Highway, with locations on and off, shared policing of stores like the ones on Town Line Drive. In other words, uses of geographical differences like that. The entrances, both of the walking path entrances to Mill Woods, all those kind of entrances to Mill Woods are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with know how Mill Woods goes right into the heart of Hartford, too, by the way. Involved with racketeering with a whole bunch of people with CCSU through time with identity thefts, with evidence racketeering, mail crimes, wire crimes, putting vertical and horizontal database stacking on campuses of each ages and then connecting them. And they're doing it. They have done that so long they already have a nature of volume self value that is incapable of doing anything other than pretending they don't realize that and how we have our identities of the law, criminally foreign influence, the delusions raw, originally and still. That's the course of American history. They also have that glorified, the actually recorded fact treatment nature quality of our founders, which was actually recorded worse than extorted. And they have that glorified, not by accident. See, they have the word debate recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with the racketeering method slash S bonded that kept and keeps through administrations, through lifetimes, racketeering uses and roles of the various natures of campuses needing to hide life progressions by hurting little kids on off campuses per the methods already perfected and already self valued and with that already facilitated the roles, needs, and natures, blaming on other things, others themselves, especially where and how those motivations are real to appearance, but they're not. But they're not really what motivates people to stay stupid, ill, liars, and pretending other. They have. That's why we have to be able to report sequence racketeering. CBS is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with elections racketeering because they are they're using the crime method of pretending that mandated law means tell someone with a badge. They know that they attach me to fake conversations. They're recorded, confessed, and demonstrated that they have a former state police head, Miss Vance. He's also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated since he was raised involved with racketeering with people associated with the state police, with the forensics lab that are involved with the racketeering with the overt criminal enterprises groups here, and with forensics labs and the witness protection as the people with the witness protection recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering acts with those groups and as evidence racketeering acts. Those are all people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering roles with directly and indirectly with people leading inside the Circuit right before the Trade Center attack. Ninth Circuit is in Manhattan. Now that's tied to the ones with racketeering uses of Connecticut interbranch in the campuses. These are prosecutors that attach me to fake words through time, attach kids through fake locations through time, and their uses of that recorded. Now, see, so then they have people too, the recorded, confessed, demonstrated. They have such evil, and then this country has some people here that are this culture, and they're this physical culture. This our American history is about this physical culture racketeering method. We have it self valued because they have their little representatives of each thing. Otherwise, everyone's hurt. Then when they have problems, when they're sequence shifting and people are acting and they're showing that to people, how they're bringing more and more people in and they're using color and they don't let them demonstrate because we have the color being used for racketeering by black and white leaders of identities of the law that are racketeering natures together, that are delusions wrought together, that are bad, sick natures together because they're victims, but they're victim predators. Now I'll heal their souls. But we also have the problem of having just because someone's an expert on something, pretend that means that they're not, they're immune from prosecution. And in other words, we have psychology originally instilled with physical delusions with the other sciences and with racketeering roles. Whole bunch of misprision groups also recorded per roles with a crime method slash S that effectively stacks names of people needed to hide the same sequence shifts, finite, active, progressive, and other natures of identity racketeering thefts and frauds against people like me and against everyone. That's what they're doing and having done and did with cases through time. New Britain Superior Court is recorded, confessed with a whole bunch of other period courts. People on off the state judicial branch offices know in this town. People on off the state prison offices know in this town involve intercities crimes. These are people crimes on my street with the ones with Sandy Hook Newtown actually recorded. These are people tied to them recorded, confessed, and demonstrated criminal uses um uh of a Soto family who I never had a conversation with. They were involved with narratives where they pretended other. They have a Fred Grisey recorded, confessed, and demonstrated he would they were influenced. He he was influenced to use them for roles with his identity thefts against me, his sequence shifts, and his drug crime roles and database crime roles with my campus. Even though he didn't go to my campus, he lived in front of it though. WTNH and a Della Farah family has also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated that they have probate court families in their extended family that's involved with, as a whole bunch of other people, involved with overt criminal enterprises and with their drugs and with private drugs and their roles with campuses like fire campuses and cliques with New York City. New York City, there's a Fred Grisey associated with Staten Island, who was involved with racketeering with former director of the FBI down. A whole bunch of men and women associated with New Britain, associated with New Haven FBI. And like New Haven FBI is not far from like little clubs in New Haven and on off Yale College. See, Yale College, UConn is involved with psychology and medical racketeering, where that is with ones who are police. Experts on logic who are criminally foreign influence and delusions raw, victim predators of this, and roles with what is inter natures of medicine and of healthcare, recorded involved with racketeering and influenced by that originally and still. See, we have to purge that. That O is more than we need. See, we have victim predators that only came through campuses with things like debate, with physical delusions in their minds. Now you guys are pretending things are A or B, and you're leaving out exceptions. And you're leaving out how you force no one to have a response to their little kids to the counters. There's a Debbie Gold recorded, confessed, and demonstrated she attached me to fake conversations with her. She's a former one of the former mayors involved with child sex offenders with other natures of crime criminally involved. Now, and her brother and other people associated with her recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with police firms associated with forensics labs and sexual relationships to her. Per them, as people also that's with the I don't even know that guy's name. That could be, and that's associated with a forensics lab with like um you know they have people they have people real sick predators with our justice department because we have private agreements that you can't value in us at the same time, and this values actual course identities and identity's actual nature, which is simultaneously a simultaneous nature as value, a complete nature as value, and a semi nature as value. And it is further that value slash value relationship, excuse me, to value nature's perfect progression, to value identity, values identity's perfect value progression, which has these five semi natures of volume, has these three semi natures of volume inseparable from it as the value they share and demonstration of itself that way in minute prayer. Not just in demonstration of what the identity of agenda of a algorithm of an online platform is, whereas now it's they're still recorded, confessed, and demonstrated being used to invest each age of factory nature sickly distinctly, never having been liberated, never being allowed free speech. Sickly distinctly, effectively having kept how sickly non-distinctly from being discerned in every modern nation, because everyone in the modern nation, not by accident, blamed other things, others, and themselves for the real causes of negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures, where and how and as everyone's forced to react to them actually. That's not addressed. I tell it best. Vaccines. You think, see, they have a lot of excuses about the water problems. Well, how they can't afford it, we can't afford it, the budget, because they have physical delusions juxtaposed with criminal foreign influences about the water problems with the pipes, and anywhere that's reported, anywhere, everywhere, anyway, it's recorded criminally, tactically denatured relationship to nature per the breaching racketeering method against Native Americans and against everyone that way. Because the truth that is native pure is the one that shows how where evolution's fruits and gifts come from. What really is science's answer proper, answer slash as proper when tied to each question. Vaccines. You think we can't afford? This is a pathology of infrastructure relationship to the land since before cars, involved with the torture and fact cheating nature slavery of our founders. And we have that self glorified. They say population, population. You know how much we can afford just admitting that? Then, in other words, they're making things so no one can afford anything individually grouped or together, anything but worse. That's who speaks. Unless all victim predators, all victim predators. No one. In other words, what led to World War I? What led to? That's who speaks about what led to the Civil War. That wasn't about liberating slavery, but semi. They still didn't have free speech. That's why our founders claimed eugenics control. We still don't have free speech. People are playing games with fact cheating. Oh, I thought mandate man. We were just supposed to tell this guy over here we know is crooked. They know the WFSB knows that the state police are crooked because they attach me to fake words, fake location. They attach kids to fake locations in databases, and it's a problem. So we have down the road. You take a left. You go down the road. It ends at Two Route Highway ends at down the road going west ends at the Berlin Turnpike. Right before that, if you take a left, you go around that corner. There's a Lowe's there. That's recorded confessed to down a whole bunch of people tied to a Chet Casper. And I don't know his sister's name. And his father was a basketball coach. I never met him. I never know his name either. In other words, they have those teams. They know when people are. In other words, these people are racketeering use. There was also a whole bunch of police firms that when I graduated, they have a graduation party, and they have a whole bunch of people associated with the Dillon family and with a Mike Domain. That was now that was before he was at the graduation party of the year of the people above him a year. Now he was Rick Sion Faglione recorded, confessed, demonstrated. I don't know him, but he sought me out for this confession about his roles with the Domain brothers and with Brian Silver and with a Brendan Leahy and his father Brendan Leahy and their other brothers and family involved with racketeering with the Britain Superior Court. Or with people on off CCSU, and they confessed that when I was in high school after he had graduated, and I never knew him in high school. I knew who he was. And in middle school too, he was recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with racketeering uses of him as a victim by people associated with a Mr. Potter and with associated with Mr. Neville and with a Heather Hansen and with the families associated with this principal sex offenders campus further criminally and the policing of the campuses. And now that Heather Hansen's also a Bruce Hansen, as they're one of the houses on one of the corners in the middle of the street, also involved with other houses also on Church Street, not just the one on the corner of the far corner of it, around the corner from Webb House, where George Washington to leave overt slavery with color. No, again, right before the last battle of the Revolutionary War here in this town, we have the state judicial branch offices, the state prison offices recorded through time that used to keep criminally foreign influenced identities of the law. A whole bunch of people racketeering with the former director of the FBI's co-defendants through a house slash S in my area criminal uses of my campuses through time. If you call up the campuses, or if you call up the police, or if you call the if you call the police or the campuses, they're lie. If you go to the court and try to have them fix problems of kids being sexually harassed, abused, in all kinds of insidious ways that are tied to avert at the same time fake passion, fake care. They're acting to kids. They're pretending kids can't understand things tied to it, and they're messing their minds up with the. And these are cliques with all kinds of racketeering with doctors, foreign and domestic, of psychology too. There's a Ray Reynolds, and I forgot the girl. I don't know the name of her, the girl tied to him, a Susan or something like that. And they're also involved. His family and her family are involved with psychologists. And there's like the difference. This guy doesn't believe in this kind of drugs for the. We're trying more homely help. In other words, I read those narratives about those things, and they will not give a response because they're recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, threatening people not to go down and report things. And they're also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated themselves pretending other. And they're forging names and switching names, putting falsified police reports, putting fake words into databases through time. There's a Chris Walters who recorded, confessed, and demonstrated is also further racketeering roles and uses of the town offices with the fire departments and dentists, and roles with the corners associated with them. There's corners all along Walker Hill Road, also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated through time racketeering with people associated with him. I don't know him. Also, he recorded, confessed, and demonstrated also racketeering with people associated next with letting locations next to the campuses connected, and with all his extended family members, his wife's family and extended family members also involved with them. People associated with like all that. These are our military is criminally foreign influence. We have a Justin Klavinskis associated with a whole bunch of racketeering with people in my area that I never had a conversation. I never tried to contact Justin Klavinskis in his life, and his brother. I never had a conversation with him. Never met him in my life, but he's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with racketeering with people at the corner of Fairlane Drive and Griswold, also involved with the ones with the Russians, like the corner of Griswold Drive and Maple Street, and then the house at the corner a little bit further down there is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with a whole bunch of people uses of Nick Nick Lapera. I barely know him. I only know him through confessions about his roles with my new and past neighbors involved with these are the people involved with crimes with child sex offenders, with doctors, and with medical clerks, foreign and domestic, intercities, their roles with the various natures of agencies and their family members involved with racketeering, Navy, military, foreign and domestic, involved with them criminally, as the people involved criminal uses of the NFL families. There are also criminal uses of where they bring people's names, everyone wants to speak, and then they want to pretend they're tough guys or whatever because they're an athlete making opinions about people they don't even know, and like in other words, in the background, in other words. So th- there's also no. So in other words, there's a whole bunch of people tied. So I need a response. So CBS, you have to fix your fake news. CBS this morning, you guys are involved with elections racketeering of a whole bunch of juxtaposed natures, but you're not alone. It's your sources interbranch. So respond to that. Who denies it? Have them pick one name and sequence as they will not do interbranch. They're recorded needing to force people to go there so they could fake words, and they could attach people to fake written descriptions of their behavior and fake sequences and fake locations of them with the officers that are recorded and confessed and demonstrated interbranch, individually grouped together, you criminal uses of our judicial branch, of their judicial branch officers, criminal uses of the executive branch, of the Wethersfield Police Department, of the judicial branch officers, of the state prison offices, houses next to it, houses next to the state judicial branch officers. Recorded, confessed a whole bunch of people, men and women, through time involved racketeering with WFSB leading up to, and with judges leading up to and in the Trade Center attack context, leading up to a 2006 case. Also, like Alfanza family recorded, confessed, and demonstrated crimes with people associated with WFSB racketeering leading up to and in a 2006 case. They hid that by forcing a principal child offender with a whole bunch of other people. They faked. They had to fake me to fake words because they had to pretend illusions because they attached me to fake conversations with prosecutors' families with prosecutors, with judges, retired and standing, fake words they're attached to. Now they're two sick fakes. They need to pretend. They need to pretend integrity by making facial poses like things like that with the media. Into branch by making them say nothing and pretend that's wisdom. In other words, when I keep making things up, we have some sick predators to counter originally and still. You'll see Hartford, Connecticut never had legal representation. You'll see not one nature of city, including suburbs, had legal representation. That doesn't mean don't give taxes. That means liberate them from their roles, uses of them, too. But recorded involved with the identity racketeering, sequence racketeering, value treatments that can't defend themselves, and also at the same time they can't defend the right outcomes in cases because they have each nature of law used criminally as trained to, but as trained to criminally. We have criminally foreign influence statutes. In other words, when they make opinions about what's good or bad for people, you think they care about what's good for people by throwing them in jail? Forget about it. You know how many? Yeah, how many? You think they care about people when they have synthetic drugs, but they don't worry about that, but they're testing marijuana. How many? How many? How many? They're keeping the qualities and strains of it. Not, all these narratives. Oh, it's stronger now. They're keeping the quality and strains of it not good because they want people to smoke more. They pretending they want more money, which is true, but they're juxtaposing people to roles as liars. They're juxtaposing people to styles of liars. It's all right if they want to do it. Now they can't follow mandated law. Now they can't be a leaders of what they want to be experts on. Vaccine tells us things. So we have interbranch drug cliques also involved with racketeering where they're using the drugs, they know it, and they're not letting other people use it. Now there are a whole bunch of Russians and other nations associated with on off Fox Connecticut News and downtown Hartford. And I never had a conversation with this Chet Casper and with this Spada family and other people from CCSU have recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with racketeering with them with uses of lows in that location, that plaza, for identity theft, sequence shifts, pretend to perceive things, verbal federal crimes in the backgrounds with people like the policing the store, this person's undercover. Those people are involved with racketeering together. Now these are people involved with the FBI and with retired and standing probate judges who are really sick, demented souls. Originally and still, their delusions wrought, criminally foreign influence. We'll examine this. Now see their uses of statutes and pretended recorded things, forging names, switching names, mail crime rolls, and refusing response. While in other words, see Renaissance, they're also a whole bunch of people on and off Farmington Avenue. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated of various natures of mail crimes, even making something itchy on things associated with the lawyer of a former director of the FBI who was involved with the Trade Center predicate acts. Clicks further, like this, these doctors in this Leahy family, men and women, other women tied to them, a Lombardo family with women who attached me to fake yelling, and they had another person who was actually yelling, who was also one of the ones tied to this Dillon family with my new and past neighbors. Now weren't supposed to go into to another real estate agreement before they have allow a peaceful counter to their racketeering methods. where they're recorded and involved with violence too. My new and past neighbors with this Dillon family that have that they use the method of having other people make confessions for them, and then they non-verbally confirm roles with it. Let's go. Let's get the names of my new neighbors too. That's a problem too. They're also torturing people by forcing them. Knowing that I'm not trying to, they're pretending I'm trying to have conversations with people around me. I only did that to force them to make a position on paper. I did that, and now they're caught because I knew they had to lie because I caught them. They're also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. A whole bunch of people with Hartford Hospital involved with child sex offenders and with drug crimes and clicks that are with untimely deaths with this Dillon family, with my new and past neighbors, also of MPO Floyd with the Eastern States Narcotic their Drug Task Force, also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated various natures of private drugs crime roles and overt racketeering with drug roles with and crime roles with people with the witness protection program stewards and federal criminals associated with those overt criminal enterprises and their family members associated with racketeering acts with them and collusion. This is more interesting and real than anything you guys say. So why hide? Then now there were a whole bunch of there there there's an apartment I never lived at in Rocky Hill. Also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with the on off campuses with CCSU people from Normandy Heights that are also involved with the child sex offenders cliques with this Phil Colo and his roles with police forums in Rocky Hill, like with the policings of the you know apartments and things like that with their roles with things. There's the whole bunch of people. There's a Demorals Market in Rocky Hill, down the road further into South City Highway. They were also recorded, confessed, involved with racketeering on off Trinity College and Hartford Hospital cliques. These are people involved with like prostitutes as police forms and stuff like that. They're in sexual circles. These are people involved with Heather Hansen and with recorded, confessed, and demonstrated she's involved racketeering with uses of the sensibilities of Emma, Elena Davenport. Other people with CCSU recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved racketeering roles and uses by a detective Samuda who pretended he was an arresting officer of me. Forging names, switching names. He's crime acts roles with some child sex offenders and people with New Britain Superior Court that are roles with those sex offenders when they were forcing it. And this is intercities. This detective Samuda is also racketeering roles through since before the Obama administration, right through administrations. On off CCSU, people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering roles with him. I never had a conversation with him in my life. He's sick. He's also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated there were sexual circles with the people on off Lena's Pizza and tied to a Miss Phillips of anthropology and to one of the boyfriends to the one of the many boyfriends of the past boyfriends of a Magdalene who's associated with another guy I never had a conversation with. What's his name? From a Daryl Sullivan. And in other words, they had them made all these confessions about they had like invited to three wedding parties. And they made all these confessions, demonstrations about how they have sexual circles with it, in other words, and they go to the same wedding together. She gets married to this guy, and all her past boyfriends are there, and they're involved with racketeering with uses because they're trained to be police formed undercover, but they're sick. They're sick. Young, long, sick. They used to have a stripper place right off the campus of CCSU. So they have roles with a whole bunch of male and female police forms who are degenerates on off and worse than that because they're criminally foreign influenced. They're racketeering roles of another method that pretend they have the right to do it on with like places in East Hartford. Now those are the people recorded. I never, no, but the people with UPS recorded, confessed, demonstrated is true. Before I went to work there, they were already recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with a Joshua Stryker. He's also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with Eric Oliveri, with Eric Jensen. Racketeering roles with a whole bunch of people tied to former director of the FBI's co-defendants, and crime acts roles with him in his defendant capacities criminally. Now they're hiding this from attorney generals who have the recorded obligation to take federal stewardships of Connecticut. That's some serious stuff, and that's real. Now we need to have the judges forging names and switching names. We have to have the prosecutors removed too from their roles with this. Recorded, confessed. Also the state's attorneys. The whole state's attorney's offices, their databases are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated criminally involved. They have that also. Weathersfield Pizza recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering with some Puerto Rican cliques, and with this with the name Vega, and with an officer that reportedly shot a person named Vega, that are in collusion with other natures of racketeering together. Follow mandated law now. Tell me who disbelieves. Pick one name in sequence and get me the response for the threats and confessions regarding the principal sex offender school, regarding the Sausty Middle School too. Got those judges' names into sequence onto paper, because we have foreign and domestic male and female doctors further involved racketeering roles on off these campuses as the ones further on off mobile gas stations. And in other words, but there are also agencies and things associated with a guy named Ken with a town line mobile, not just the. I mean, I'm not with cross automotive. Now these are also people with businesses next to them recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with men and women associated with CCSU through times racketeering roles with judges and with science guys and with male and female doctors of who are racketeering roles with the people on off CCSU. Everyone's speaking through others. They have no integrity who they raise. And it's nothing personal against the campuses. They're using the identity of the campuses from off them, and they're being coached to it. That's why we need mandated law followed. They're using the crime method, for example, of pretending that mandated law means just tell the person next to you. That's how they're starting and keeping everyone blaming other things other than themselves for the real cause of negative value nature, progression, acts, and natures. They recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, oh, we're going to clean up this neighborhood. See how they built houses in the past in the pathology that was designed to keep negative value nature, progression, acts, and natures blamed all the things other than themselves. The houses of Hartford was set up as a by what George Washington left with overt slavery. Nations individually grouped it together, victim predator roles, incapable of defending how their roles through other motivations, natures, needs, interests, and us from such at the same time, originally and still. So what they do, they got opinionators. Oh, I'm against this. Look what they do to this area, because everyone's a victim. Their value treatments are messed up. They have three family houses, two family houses. Not by accident. They were just built perfect to be converted like that. It was already a toxic nature relationship to nature since before that. They invested it further and further while they were investing American fact treatment nature further and further, incapable of defending our founders' course, which is per correlation nature. Prevented free speech and prevented sequence true. Prevented passion and emotions true. Passion and emotions have a real true course. But see, we have other natures of gun crimes. There's a Newington gun exchange, and there are people that were involved with the kids who were involved. The kid didn't even go to my school. Mike Kerr. I don't know if Jerry Kerr did. If he did, he was in my grade, and he was behind my back. Also with the Mike Kerr, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, with a whole bunch of people tied to with Heather Hansen. I also never had a class with it in high school or anything else. The only exception with her is a middle school summer school class, which was also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, affected by racketeering uses of a former Mr. Neville. And one of the girls tied to this, Heather Hansen, involved with the further racketeering at on off Trinity College through the administrations, and with her father involved, I guess, or her family involved with intelligence community. Joe DeMoro, she speaks to a Joe DeMoro and walks up next to me, pretending I know her, and she's involved with this Oliveri family with the racketeering too. I don't know her name. The one at Trinity College. They also used a whole bunch of girls with the name Alicia for racketeering uses of the databases at Trinity College and at CCSU, and as the ones with intercampus through time ages uses of that. Whole bunch of people tied to Hawaii, criminal uses of, people are sick, think culture means anything. Who's this Sapati guy? I never had I went out with him. I put him on a date with a girlfriend of a girlfriend I had when I was in ninth grade. I don't know Sapati, but I know that those people are incapable of integrity of the law, especially in regarding his roles reportedly with the law. Now, these are also people involved again with racketeering uses of cultural cliques in black and white. These are black and white, even female judges involved with child offenders, involved with database racketeering, involved with pretending not to realize the reactions to it are justified. Like the kid like the kid associated with pretending to fight with and or real wherever they were at. Well, he was recorded, confessed to demonstrate a kid who's black, who's all when I was in high school. Now I don't know his name then, but he was recorded, confessed to demonstrate involved with these people on Two Route Highway, with the racketeering, with the judges' family members, with the sisters involved with the FBI, foreign and domestic, overt criminal enterprise, all these confessions to me about their boyfriends, and that they saw me out the door. Then you're just gonna be they're abusing each, like, in other words, you're a boy, they're gonna mess with you one way, because these are men and women into branch sick. They need to hide their life progressions offensively too. So they're involved with vertical and horizontal database racketeering, self value, and self value how it already was is life progressions to and as their value treatments and everything that goes bad with areas. Police when they say they want to interact better with the community because they're racketeering natures. That's in other words, they don't know how to say it right, but they want to keep talking anyway. They're predators. In other words, they're not their identity's law true. You think you think freedom of speech had a quality of freedom of speech and sequence true, and evaluation of all the different laws at once simultaneously true that puts kids in jail for pot when we have interbranch racketeering nature's uses of pot with their little drug cliques and their recorded racketeering roles with private drugs too, especially ones with psychology. Now let's get the response for this MPO Floyd. Don't be a coward, forging names, switching names. Respond, MPO Floyd. Put something on, respond on paper, and get the judges' names tied to you to one name in sequence, because there are other military police and their families associated with the houses in my area, further with shipping locations, and further with the corners of the streets. And when I run, and it still is a problem, because this is the people are also involved now with a pattern of child offender roles and with their patients and criminals since before they got caught for that. And Facebook recorded that, and they know that they're pretending to think other. They have a commercial about fathers and daughters that they're pretending to be for what they're against, because they put me in a whole bunch of fake conversation sequence shifts. You put sequence shifts, they're making people fight about, if you don't fight about it. In other words, if I didn't take a position online, they already recorded, confessed what they were doing. They demonstrated the connections to their pathology of criminal uses of database, fake conversations with me, mail crimes, wire crimes, more crimes and cases tied to the proven sequence shift inside the Ninth Circuit right before the Trade Center attack. Now, that proven led to a 2006 case where former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, WFSB, a whole bunch of foreign and domestic military and people on off their location and locations right next to them, and other, as these people involved with Fox Connecticut News, these people involved with the owners of the buildings downtown Hartford, involved with identity racketeering, identity thefts, spreading lies and illusions, then covering up their lie progressions that are criminally foreign influenced ones. Don't pretend I ever had a conversation with a Czech Casper. Don't pretend it's personal. They need to pretend all kinds of passion emotions because they're keeping passions and emotions from their proper uses. And they're also recorded systemic crime methods and crime natures that attach people to fake behavior, fake sequences, fake locations. Then they pretend their own behavior tied to that. They're pretending legitimacy they never had. They're pretending the credibility to the other branches of government when they know they're not credible. So we have no judicial independence, and they know that the judicial branch is criminally and foreign influenced. They know that they have all kinds of criminally influenced reception and theories and as conspiracy theories, and they're recorded at the same time pretending to be against that. They're incapable of allowing scientific process free speech. So we have a problem. We have a problem where we have elections involved with child offenders. We have a problem where the same cliques are involved with uses of elderly homes criminally. Now there are a whole bunch of people, police forms associated with this Demoro family, also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with that. Again, further, a whole bunch of people with CCSU, and that's their extended family members also involved with the extended family members and with the people in my area that are further involved with various natures of racketeering with proven child sex offenders campuses. And I'm sick of saying the name sex offender, and they're forcing such sustained simultaneous. They want and need everyone to speak through other people. There's no law that says we have to speak through other people. See, because that's the way they can get away with things. That's the way they can make things worse. And they already attached other people to fake words. How do I know if you're not there? It's recorded all kinds of ways. They also did so with federal criminals that my father already beat in a case, and they did so, and they were further. It was our case ongoing at the time of my father's death. WFSB already recorded, confessed, and demonstrated to me and to others this way that they had federal crime acts rules with that case, with the actors in those cases, with their family members. Those are the people they have crime acts rules with the child sex offenders with. A whole bunch of men and women police forms associated with Enzo Fienzo. A whole bunch of people associated with Fox with WFSB. Business around there, a Zano family, as also the ones not just Rocky Hill, but Weathersfield, on off the state, on off the South State Middle School further, as the people with the libraries further. So it's important to also because you have the ad companies of the media that's involved with such things that they're also involved timing of those ad companies with the family members that are involved further with the child offenders. And now that's like with a former mayor Golds is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with a whole bunch of people. Also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering uses of a Joe Aiello. I barely know him. He's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved racketeering with a whole bunch of people with with forensics clicks that through time are involved racketeering and fake conversations, fake relationships to me, as people involved with state police further involved with CCSU in my area criminally and with their family members and with the house on my. They said of one woman. There's one woman down the street who's a who is associated with state police, and they said that she broke into a house on my street and threatened to hurt the people or kill them or whatever. That's what they said. told someone who told me, and this is the EMS took her to Hartford Hospital. Now Hartford Hospital also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated that they were are involved with criminal uses of those, that family's kids and of that wife's kids at the same time. There started fights between people. They also have the EMS involved with untimely deaths that brought up the child offenders to me with confessions because with connected untimely death spots too. One on the College of Trinity campus, Trinity, the campus of Trinity College, and other ones near on off it at the time. And that's where the Rob Rodriguez also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated a whole bunch of racketeering roles with people with a Scalora family, pretending to know me through time, pretending to record. They say things that imply that they know you, and they pretend that. Now there's someone on YouTube here. Also, one of the Facebook. They have a whole bunch of police forums with Facebook interbranch. Again, former director of the FBI down, judges, their courts police, foreign and domestic military, leading up to and in the Trade Center attack criminally from Connecticut, West Hartford police. Locations. Now, I was also locations recorded, confessed, demonstrated out of nowhere from me, from people in the past that will tell you I don't know them. But then when we start talking about reality, then they pretend they know me. Now, those are people associated with the real or meant, especially if made up body stuff dumping spot of the serial killer, because he's also recorded and confessed and demonstrated racketeering roles with the people who put him away, and his doctor is also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated federal crimes with the principal sex offender and with his campus and with the policing of the campuses further of each age connected, and they're connected to criminal uses of the identity ground locations like parks, live progressions from there. All these people with these names I don't even know, tied to this Kerr family, tied to this Dora Demora family, tied to this Heather Hansen, tied to the people with Trinity College from my grade, from my school that I don't know. They pretend because oh, I walked up to you and asked you a question before. Get out, respond, get the judges' names. CBS this morning. When you guys are incapable nations of having a free elections, especially America. It's time. I just remind. It's not the space is not the problem. Money is not the problem. Fact cheap nature values is the problem. Liars pretending other is the problem. Breaching screens pretending their patriotism natures is a problem. It's all right you want to follow someone else's orders. Don't hide that criminally foreign influence. Don't hide that you all have to hide and lie and plot and make theories. You're a conspiracy theorist too. While you're pretending people are conspiracy theorists, then you imply that you had conversations by doing that. You appreciate it. Russians and Americans have conspiracy theories with a whole bunch of nations with psychology, shared policing of private agreements that you can't value in us at the same time. Now, these are value treatments of behavior, racketeering roles, then so there's self-valuing the database racketeering roles originally still online policing, pretending to perceive things, pretending things recorded that are other than were actually recorded. Further sequence shifts reveal their racketeering roles with uses of New Britain Superior Court and of the child campuses with principal sex offenders and their rape threats roles with it that forced that sustained. Now they also, the Britain Superior Court recorded, confessed, and demonstrated they have the investigators and uses of their Facebook pages of their courts for racketeering with the roles with the judges who attach kids to fake locations through time, fake words, fake behavior. We have fucking problems. We have sick people with the Britain Superior Court. All these other natures of courts, all racketeering roles with the same house slash S in my family and in my area. A Kalal family, uh, Smith family, people associated with Stop and Shops. So I need a response. I need a response because we also have the Weathersfield police chief again, and I'm and the, if you the evidence is recorded or how they lie about what's actually recorded. That's evidence. That's hard, unbreakable evidence. But see, they're breaking it because they're forging names, switching names, and switching sequences and preventing writing. So then you can't respond to that. So they're forging names, switching names, even misspelling their names, putting falsified police departments, false fake arresting officers at the same time, mixing a whole bunch of police officers from a whole bunch of cities through time. Because a whole bunch of people tied to this officer McDonald's involved racketeering with the DeMoro family, with men and women associated with the various natures of courts and private experts that are tied to them. People associated, even political figures associated with the congressional building, further criminally involved with East Hartford, and like this, these places associated with the courts. So get the judges to one name and sequence, and get the police forms to one name and sequence and one spelling of their names. Because we had a bust in my house too with regard to their roles with this Scalora family pretending to know me through time, and they have all kinds of crime max roles with Facebook, also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated crimes with New Britain Superior Court with this Scalora family, and with a Rick Sion Faglione family, with a whole bunch of people with prosecutors involved racketeering with them and his neighbors, for foreign and domestic, further involved criminal roles with Russians, with the corner of the house of the street of the principal sex offender, especially if made up because they have the rape threats from the Britain Superior Court, and they have a whole bunch of people with um what is it called, West Farms Mall, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering roles with a whole bunch of people tied to the Scalora family again, with the house on my street involved with them racketeering. Their extended family members, fake conversations with me, fake relationships to me. They used to hang around with their cousins and people in my grade. I don't know. They pretend other because they need to pretend. Oh, well, you're this person's friend. Why were you? Why you say this now? You were their friend then. I don't know them. They know that I only know them from context they can't be honest about too because of that. They know that they're pretending passions, emotions, judges, and police forms. That's recorded. The sequence just reveal it. And these are further criminal uses of Connecticut, way worse than as the ones roles with the proven sequence of inside the Ninth Circuit. Proven other natures of racketeering roles and uses of the Ninth Circuit recorded too, confessed and demonstrated. Also involved with the no, first CT, the same ones, Central Connecticut State University, Weathersfield, Connecticut, on-off state judicial branch office, on-off state prison offices, whole bunch of cliques associated with racketeering with the Trade Center. There's a Dan Keene, his mother, a recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with Weathersfield police departments with their narratives, where they're involved with, in other words, with this DeMoro family and with these sexual circles with this Kerr family, with that Heather Hansen that reportedly was involved with this Dan Keene, a whole bunch of other guys. And in other words, I don't know these people. They make girls make confessions to guys that they don't know time as the ones that are involved with the racketeering with the various natures of judges clicks, interbranch drug clicks, fake conversations with people. Now they're adults. They need to hide their lies, so they attach me to fake words through WFSB. No, that's a problem. That's a problem because there are criminal uses of each of of the Connecticut boxing gyms, interstates, with the same ones. That's recorded too. All ties to the house slash SMI area doesn't even box involve criminal uses of them. And you don't even know who's involved because everyone's forging names, switching names. You don't have anyone to get mad at properly. That's why they're making people get mad at everyone, and they're lying about behavior and emotions. No, we have behavior racketeering methods recording. We have behavior racketeering natures recorded. We have physical delusions. I'm going to teach you about nations. I'm going to show you the ill we have in the human fact treatment nature. We're going to make the distinction between pseudo rhetoric and rhetoric. We're going to make the distinction between pseudo semantics and semantics. And that's the difference between positive as criminal seditious nature and positive as not, which is positive as temporary slash lasting positive. Positive as not, unceasingly gaining more and more nature of its volume. Positive that is temporary criminal seditious nature is temporary slash lasting quality of diffusion more and more negative net value nature. Now, the tree of life, the tree of knowledge of good and evil, in the beginning of the Quran about what the ancients knew about the nature of volume we are as value, as nature. This invisible but clear, as I spoke. That's demonstrable per the engineering of English, revealed by nature itself. These 26 sounds have an identity of relationship to themselves that the ancients were able to reveal because they didn't have criminally foreign influenced sciences. They didn't have that states and areas and sciences speaking that. So they had the states and areas speaking and following actual identity course, which is why and how we're supposed to value individual, grouped, and nations altogether, the species volume. And further, are we using it for positive or negative? We're the one we're valuing what is individual, grouped, and is higher species at once at the same time simultaneously. It is in that sequence. And sequence nature was sequence nature true before that, which is the value of all the semi natures of physically gone, but still scientifically discernibly present or forced from here. These of IDs, temporary slash lasting nature, identity nature. So where you want to make the debatable, but do with sequence true first. Because now we have a problem. We're incapable of having an election. We have the counters to real sick Justice Department brackets only capable of being furtherance of it. Fake sides, fake difference. They are incapable of proper fact treatments. We have prison clicks recorded how raised criminally foreign influence needed to hide the same sequence shifts, finite, active, progressive lies, identity racketeering lies, mail crimes, wire crimes, whole methods of that recorded. Sandy Hook, a whole bunch of people associated with an O'Brien family, with CCSU to also Central Connecticut State University, with Trinity College, also involved. Before they were involved with that, they were already invested. Everyone speaking through other. They were raised criminally foreign influence, racketeering roles. They also had a girl one time. You know how like psychologists know this girl was tied to this Heather Hansen. Like right when I'm in my mind, they knew. Like I was writing poetry, I write some posts. They knew I was going to use the word, the phrase, "my love." That's how for a girl. They knew I was going to walk right through this door, right, and this girl's come through the door. The one tied to Trinity College with the child offenders, with this Joshua Stryker and this Heather Hansen, and with this tomorrow Joe clique. Whole bunch of people on and off Fox Connecticut News with police forms, two Mendez police, two the main police, their family members, their house, their location of their house, involve racketeering roles. Now with other agencies too, not just regular police, whatever police forms they are, and retired and standing. Now these are people speaking through other. I never had a conversation with them in my life. You just make conversation. I explained the exceptions on Facebook. They're taking down stuff. They're pretending emotions and passions because they have Facebook and other online police already involved, and judges retired and standing already involved, lying about what's actually recorded on Facebook, and that's the ones involved with criminal uses of the town offices in Wethersfield, of election spots roles, of on off religious spots. Also, the family of that used to be a different kind of religion, of the religious spot used to be a born again Christian. The family of that born again, those preachers and stuff like that, they moved out of there. But I never had a conversation with them. They were recorded, confessed, and demonstrated used as tools for the racketeering. Also with the ones with there's a Lucinda. I don't know her last name yet. Associated with Justin Plavinskis and a whole bunch of people that recorded, confessed, and demonstrated she was a part of of other people saying that I was going to end up in prison when I was older. Now she's involved with a whole bunch of evidence racketeering and people involved with prisons and with military police involved racketeering with other nations' military and with with the shared like on off Normandy Heights and apartments next to it recorded involved with them with racketeering. That spot with the serial killer recorded. Now they're also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated crimes with the military families and with Eric Burgess and other people also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated crimes with judges and judges, police, and military police there. And they wanted help with that, and but I did it my way. So they wanted to make it look like I never saw him ever on the campus of Central Connecticut State University, which I never did one time in my life. Now he's also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated crimes after the Trade Center attack too. Roles with other men and women on off CCSU and with Covington Street, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated also involved with it. Now, see, these are sequence shifts in racketeering roles and confessions they made about their crime roles with people from since before I met them. Before I lived on Covington Street, they were already recorded, confessed, and demonstrated crimes with people in the neighboring cities through time. And they recorded, confessed, and demonstrated that true. They verified it. They don't realize that, but they do realize they were used for crimes with courts that use them to pretend fake sides of correlation with depositions, criminal uses of the locations of depositions, criminal uses of all the people associated with the court, spreading illusions that they say they can pretend to perceive it and not to perceive things because they're needing to hide things, criminally foreign influence. So I don't know what it is with these mall buildings, but that's also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. A whole bunch of people tied to West Farms Mall involved with identity racketeering, identity theft, fake conversation, evidence reception crimes, evidence racketeering roles, and with the houses, with state police forms of people on and off CCSU, male and female, associated with that, and with various natures of private schools involved criminally with the uses of the public schools intercities. And then they have those narratives with this type of school, this type of school. It's interdepartments the problem. It's internatures, it's inter ages of school and natures of school fluent. That's the problem. That's the problem. Now, so we need mandated law followed. We need the crime method of pretending. Ask the person next to you what to do when someone asks to report crime acts. I want to have a response to the rape threats of New Britain Superior Court, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated that we are more with more sicker people than the principal sex offender with his same campus before, while he was still doing it, forced and since. Let's go. We have a people, Officer Jerry Miller, and a whole bunch of other officers forging and switching names and crimes with houses in my area, with mail crimes, with police forms, foreign and domestic, police forms associated with the witness protection program, also with houses with evidences crimes, with overt criminal enterprises, and with the judges and with the police forms and their family members criminally involved, prosecutors criminally involved, state's attorneys criminally involved. They also recorded extortion in this way, forcing people not to be able to talk about things, forcing people to repeat things so they keep pretending impressions. Note with conspiracy theories about what we're saying, when what we're saying is really true, and they know this is true too. So they're forging in like give me a goddamn response already. Pick the pick one name and pick a judge from another court then and get a response from New Britain Superior Court. because their crime methods are speaking through other people and then lying when they speak to you directly, preventing your voice, pretending you have passions, emotions other than they were. They're pretending to perceive things. That's recorded because they're forging names, switching names and sequences. They're pretending passions, emotions. They're pretending integrity. They're pretending patriotism. They're breaching screens and tools. So get them to one name and sequence, and let's get the name of this of the black and white kid, the black kid, and his roles. Whatever the people, the men and women, black and white judges, even women, black and white women judges, and people associated with this other, other all men and women, everything with the Britain Superior Court, other courts, their family members, real sick, already used criminally and on off the state judicial branch offices, and they were racketeering roles when I was in high school. And they pretend like things like prejudice when they have black and white cliques involved with database racketeering together, sequence shifts, preventing counters to their evidence to their identity thefts, forcing kids to fake conversations and relationships to others, even by having forced fights, because then it makes you look like you were at a conversation or even saw or knew the person before. Make sequence shifts. These are all people that a whole bunch of people involved with former Mayor Gold and the new mayors and retired ones further involved with sequence shifts. Like Debbie Gold pretended she had conversations with me by having anger towards me when I was a kid. She's also involved with a whole bunch of people with Joshua Julian further recorded criminal roles and uses of Facebook as crimes with the child sex offenders campus further, especially if made up. That's why I want the judges' names on the paper now. And I want the prosecutors' names on the paper now. And the state's attorneys forged and switched names in the context of their confessions to me and others. Confessions and recorded racketeering with evidences. Let's go. We have women mothers, and they use that as in other words. Oh, that's my job though. They have no business being in courts, one way reports. They have no business being anything tied to them. We have a whole bunch of people from my area also tied to Sandy Hook, Newtown, from the city, involved with the further racketeering with those doctors involved with the principal sex offenders just before he was caught, involved with Facebook uses of it and threats against sexually natured threats against the campus and their family members and against me, and then acts on that. And we still have that needed to counter. Don't forget, former director of the FBI is involved with the evidence racketeering with CBS, and then you guys have CBS and CCS, CNN has also recorded racketeering roles as the sequence of uses of Comey and Mueller's name, real or made up, per you guys preventing racketeer counters to former director of the FBI criminally in his private capacities, not just against my family, but against me, sickly distinctly. I'm trying to represent myself. I need the attorney general to clean out Connecticut here. We all need that. You see the north end of Hartford with those shootings. Where's this officer? What Chris White live? That fought. So we have retired and standing police chiefs also with Fox Connecticut News. They have a former Chief Foley, who was recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved racketeering with people on off New Haven FBI and with Weathersfield on off the state judicial branches, on off the Weathersfield Police Department involved with him with racketeering with WFSB, with Fox Connecticut News, WTNH is in New Haven next to the FBI. Now they have criminal uses of the policing of the clubs there and their roles with the military. They have a Seoul Korea place associated with foreign and domestic racketeering with drugs, formal and overt, because we have psychology drugs and triage relationships to that place. They have crime acts roles with real or made up and uses of the criminally juxtaposed made up fake news. Right before Yale started this year, there was a whole bunch of people that went to a triage because they were given some kind of a K2 or whatever they people's some kind of a fake drug, and then they were taken to a triage. Now those triages and the judges and their family members and the people that work for those courts and their family members are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated through time how maintain criminally foreign influence, like Dr. Shu of modern languages, his wife associated with a probate court, a whole bunch of people from my town involved racketeering with the Della Fera family, with a whole bunch of agencies and judges, retired and standing, involved criminally with the kids, criminally with houses next to the Samuel Dix house with racketeering, identity thefts, mail crime rolls, wire crime rolls, crimes with judges, crimes with doctors. I mean, various natures of judges, various natures of courts, not just various natures of judges. You know how many people work for each court? How sick they have that involved with how easily they stack names against people and then pretend that means what it doesn't. They have no integrity.